All right, well, there it is. We crowned ourselves a national champion. No more college basketball for now. Of course, we got a lot still to come here this week. We've got our first major of the year. We got plenty of Major League Baseball, still NBA, NHL playoffs. And who better to help us navigate through all of it than the one and only Mr. Art DeCesar in the house as the Prez is, I don't know if he's hitchhiking or what he's trying to get back from vacation, but we'll see him in a couple of days, Art. But the big question is, of course, good game last night. I wouldn't say, I thought Florida-Houston was much more exciting a year ago, but I got to tell you, Michigan backers had to be sweating there, especially those that were laying the 7.5, and thought that, there's no way they're going to lose this game. I got to give UConn credit, but what did it all mean for the books when it was all said and done there, Art?
Well, yeah, Joe, we had talked at the beginning of the tournament, and I had mentioned that the best results, and really the two teams we were rooting for to cut the nets down, were Michigan and Arizona. And, it was great. Once we knew that was the Final Four, we were going to get one of them in there, especially Michigan. Michigan to us was always going to be our best result. And we love UConn because they knocked Duke out for us. They knocked Illinois out for us.
Yep.
They got rid of a lot of these bad future positions. And then when you look at the game last night, Michigan winning and not covering was the best result for us. We got hurt a little bit on the under because I would say more money was on the under than the over, despite the early move to the over. We saw a flood of under money come in late, but all in all, it was a really good tournament for us. Really good future. Listen, anytime you can win six figures on a future book, and you're booking almost 300 teams there, we did well on it. So we're very happy with the results.
Yeah, it was good. And again, we had mentioned it yesterday too, Art, is that if you would have listened to us a couple of weeks ago when we said grab in the predictive markets, UConn at 5 cents, 6 cents, you don't need them to win it. You just need them to get to that final game. And I think they went off at about 26 cents last night. So, yeah, there is a lot of different ways to skin the cat, apparently. But UConn gets it done. Hurley now 19-1 in tournaments there against the number. It's going to be interesting here, Art, to say the least here. College basketball moving forward. Now we got to go to transfer portals and who's going to be the NBA number one draft pick. Those markets are still coming up here. But Major League Baseball so far, early in the year, Art, what kind of action are you guys seeing here as we're about, dozen games into the season here at this point? What are you seeing in Major League Baseball?
Well, I think the big thing for us is every day, and this, I'm not breaking any news here, but every day we fight against the Yankee, Dodger, and now Brewer money, and especially run line. It feels like they want to lay 1.5 with those teams. It's just something that we go against. I mean, look at the Red Sox have been terrible, but the Brewers come back and cover that run line last night, which was not good for us because it's not good for us because there's a lot of people out there laying 1.5 with the Brewers. And I think two teams for us that we're pretty proud early. It's early. Listen, guys, 162 games, we're 10, 11 games into this. So, you got to pump the brakes a little bit. But we were very proactive on wanting to book to our futures for the Pirates. And we feel good about that. Now, once again, very early, but we were very high on their win total. We tried not to give out a big price on them, to make the playoffs. And now even too, once again, early, but maybe they're lurking around in that division. Cubs haven't gotten off to a good start. Reds have been pretty good, and we know how good the Brewers are, but we feel good about that. And we think another team who was lower on the totem pole, who we kind of felt good about, maybe getting off to a good start, and they kind of carried the momentum from last year, was Miami. The Marlins, they were very underrated last year. They had a win total in the 60s, won well above that, and have gotten off to a good start here as well. So, we're starting to see that, and I think it's good too because day in and day out, the public's going to bet against those teams, and those teams are winning kind of early. Even a team like the White Sox, that's another one you can throw in there. So I think the sharp guys are all over those teams. The public yet to do that. And once again, once the public gets on those teams, they've been priced out and they're too late.
Yeah, it's so true here. But there is some value on the board for sure, especially coming up here today. A lot of cold temperatures around the country today, but a lot of pretty good arms, too. Paul Skeens out on the mound here. It's Paul Skeens Day for Pittsburgh, who got blanked by German Marquez, of all people, last night there. But that bullpen of the Padres is no joke, to say the least. Schlittler on the mound here today for the Yanks. So what is going on with sharp bets here today? You got a lot of Major League Baseball, NBA. What do you got for us?
Yeah, a couple of things in MLB for the sharp action. We took some Nats money, sharp money overnight, moved that about 5 or 6 cents. Same thing with the Guardians. And then we took money on the Yankees. No surprise there. Very popular in the parlays today is the Yankees on the money line. And then, like I said, they're always laying the 1.5. You had mentioned Schlittler is on the mound. Once you get to the NBA, Timberwolves and Pacers, they took over 229.5, now 232.5. So a big move there, 3-point move. Rockets and Suns over 219, now 221. And then the Raptors, who were an overnight dog, catching 1.5. They're now a favorite, -1.5. And then really the only thing to mention in the NHL is Sharps took the Blue Jackets +108 on the road in Detroit. Both teams are on losing streaks. Both teams are hanging on for dear life to get that last spot in the East. So it's a huge game in the East. And the Sharps figure, hey, that's a toss-up game. Give me the plus money with Columbus.
Ooh, Columbus. All right. Well, I mean, final week of what? NBA. We're just about there for the NHL as well here. So it's going to be. There's so many damn tanking teams here across the board, which is just mind-blowing. The game of the night last night was the Knicks and the Hawks, and boy, that was almost going to overtime there, as it was, I believe, what would have been a buzzer-beating 3 that would have sent it to overtime for the Hawks, but they reviewed it, and C.J. McCollum's hand was still on the ball by about a half a second before he got it off. So the Knicks get a pretty big win there, but man, I got to tell you, some of these teams, the Clippers, Charlotte tonight, taking on Boston, the Clippers, teams like Atlanta, these teams were dead in the water, Art. If you go back to December and January, but now maybe not so much anymore. I mean, now all of a sudden some of these teams look very dangerous moving forward here in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously the NBA, the end of the season here, where basically teams are just jockeying for position. We know the teams in both conferences, we know the 10, but I think you get to a point where, we've talked for months about the West and how we feel really it's a two-team race. I think maybe the East, when you talk about maybe in Atlanta or some other team, it's like, can there be a weird team that kind of, upsets the apple cart here and comes out of the East, or at least makes a run, in the predictive markets, and maybe they win a couple of rounds and you make a little bit of money. So, I don't think that's impossible in the East, because as much as I love Boston and, I think Cleveland's got pieces and, the Knicks as well, it's like, I don't know, it's hard to really trust any of them. I mean, so I guess if you want to go outside the big four, I don't know, maybe Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to play Atlanta. I don't want to play Charlotte early. I mean, there are a couple of teams that I think are extremely dangerous here, but Boston, without a lot to play for tonight, is interesting because they're Detroit locked it up, right? They're done. They're the 1 seed. Boston's going to be the 2 seed. I don't see Boston rolling over, but I think it's interesting in this game here tonight, Art, because I did see some early Charlotte money this morning. And I've also seen the over get hit here. Are you seeing the same? Are you guys still around the same opening number that you were in that game? Because I don't see why Boston's laying out playing defense against anybody in these final 3 games.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, for us, when we, I didn't mention that as a total. The other ones I mentioned were just sharp thing, total bets. But yeah, that's kind of one of those, you move with the market on that. We didn't get hit on the number, and you can kind of just move up with the Boston Charlotte total, because sometimes you can be ahead of the sharp guys, and sometimes we like to say, quote unquote, we're moving on air. And we see everything moving, and we say, you know what, hey, let's just move. And if someone we respect comes back and bets the under, okay, well, then we didn't make the right move, and now we'll book it to that. But, that's not something that actually happened this morning.
I'm seeing 251.5 on the way to
Woo.
252 here, Art, with Chicago and Washington, which is
What a number.
absolutely hilarious here. And I got news for you. I couldn't sweat out an under in that game. I don't think I could sweat one
No.
out in the Miami-Toronto game. That's now up and over the 240 mark. So, yeah, we got a couple of things moving. Have you seen anybody running to try to fade the Lakers now without Reeves and without, of course, Doncic for the foreseeable future here? Has there been a lot of anti-Laker money at all yet?
Well, the biggest thing for us is we really tried to put them in
Yeah.
the future market, the highest number available.
You did, yes.
Yeah, we just, and listen, a sports book always has liability on the Lakers.
Of course.
It's just the way it goes. It's the Cowboys, it's the Yankees, it's Notre Dame football. It's just what it is. You always have liability on those teams. But we just said, listen, if you want to come in and bet the Lakers, God bless you. We'll give you a shot on that. And, there are people who are going to come in now and take their 10, 50, 20 bucks, all that type of stuff. But yeah, we don't think much of the Lakers. Not that we really did anyway. We kind of felt,
Right.
all right, hey, the Lakers are having a nice little run here, but we still feel it's San Antonio and OKC and maybe even Denver. We never really felt the Lakers were a strong case or contender to come out of the West.
You've got you got plenty of. It's going to be interesting with the Masters coming up this week here, Art. And when do you usually start to see it? I know you have mentioned when it comes to the golf markets, a lot of head-to-head bets from the sharp guys. That's what you see. That's the markets that they focus on, not the outright winner markets. Although the predictive markets are great for that because you don't need them to win to actually make any money. You just need them to have a pretty decent tournament heading into the weekend here. But when do you start seeing some of those moves and those bets here? By tomorrow? Is it day of, Thursday? When do you usually start to see the money come in?
Yeah, so for the Masters, everything pretty much was getting priced up Sunday and Monday. And we'll start to see heavy action. Started to trickle in a little bit last night, but especially today and tomorrow, we'll start to see those matchups, those top 10, 20, make and miss the cut, the group winners, all that type of stuff. We'll really start to see the money come in there. And listen, I'm not saying a sharp guy doesn't ever have a future bet. Of course they do, but they really try to focus on winning matchups at, 2-dime clips, saying, hey, I'm going to bet 10 matchups in this tournament and I hope I go 7-3 or 6-4, whatever the case may be. And I could squeeze a little bit of profit out of the Masters. You mentioned it, obviously, with the predictive markets, you put up that first round leader.
Yep.
That's always been a popular market. A guy like Justin Rose, who has led after the first round 5 times in his Masters career. Yep. That's incredible.
Yes.
We were talking about that yesterday in the risk room. So you see guys like that. Scheffler, who normally doesn't start well in the Masters, he's a guy who's not going to take money, but normally takes money. So I'll mention this, and we'll talk a lot more Masters Wednesday and Thursday. But right now, the 2 guys we want to avoid in the future book are Cameron Young and Ludwig Aberg.
Yep.
Those are the 2 big guys right now we're looking to avoid to win the Masters. We're set up really well on Rory. We're set up really well on a John Rahm, set up really well on Scotty Scheffler. Some of those guys a little bit higher on the board. But you look at a guy like Cam Young, his odds were at one point as high as 80-1.
Yes.
He's now going off at 18-1 for us. Aberg wasn't that high, 25-1. He's now been cut in half at 12-1. But those are the guys we've taken a lot, and they're both in the top 5 ticket count as well. So money and ticket counts on those 2 guys. As of now, we want to avoid them winning the Masters.
And so, how about Bryson, though? You're not seeing a whole lot of big push for him yet? It's more Scotty that you want to avoid more than anything else.
Yeah, usually we're pretty... now, unless people come in and overwhelm us the next couple of days on Scotty, because, listen, he's still the best golfer in the world. He just obviously has not been playing to his, level, and obviously he's already won at the Masters, won at Augusta, so he knows how to play there. Yeah, I mean, Bryson gets love. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but he's kind of more in the middle of the pack for us right now. Like, I think if he were to win, we'd do pretty well on him. He's usually pretty high in the ticket count, top 5, top 10 ticket count. He's a very popular golfer with the people who bet golf week in and week out. So, yeah, there's some stuff on Bryson.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Out of sight, out of mind on the Live Tour, right? But meanwhile, he's
Yeah.
already won his last two tournaments there on the Live there, one in Singapore there. So he is in good form, to say the least. But it'll be interesting to see when those come. But a great market all around, right? I mean, prop betting market, head-to-heads, final score. We got a couple coming up here in the predictive market segment that we'll go over with you guys that you might want to take a look at as well. But we do have to give out a couple of winners here, Art. Now, you and I did fantastic throughout the week here, and then Prez showed up, and then all hell broke loose here. So why don't you kick us off here? We got a few spots to look, a lot of NBA, a lot of Major League Baseball. You mentioned the NHL here. What are we thinking today for our first leg?
It's normally not the way I'd like to go, but I'm actually going to go against the sharp movement in that Columbus-Detroit game.
Ooh.
Detroit is at home. I think they'll find a way to win. You're basically at a pick 'em right now. So lay it a short price with the Red Wings, -110. I think they get it done tonight.
Oh, all right. You're going the Red Wings there tonight. I'm going to go into, I think, the association here tonight. And I think there's a sneaky good game on the board here tonight. It doesn't involve Oklahoma City laying 17 points against the Lakers. But I do think it is the return of Kevin Durant to Phoenix tonight for the first time. They played one time where Houston came to Phoenix. I think it was back in November, but Durant didn't play in that game. I don't even think he was there. He had something like a family thing or something came up. So he has yet to be back to Phoenix since he has left here. Phoenix back home now, still jockeying for position. Houston still has an actual shot, I think, of making or bettering their position right now because, Denver, I don't know how they pulled that game. That's back-to-back overtime games with Denver, by the way, folks. I'll tell you, just keep Spurs and then Portland last night. So keep an eye on that game tomorrow with the Denver Nuggets and what they have left in the tank. But I think there's an under tonight. I think Phoenix is going to play some defense. And I think Houston is not going to try to run up and down the court. I think defense is coming tonight. 221, I think, is what we're seeing now. I like the under with Houston and Phoenix here tonight in the NBA. And that, of course, Art, is 8 o'clock your time, I think. You want to talk about a late game. That one is late tonight in the association. So good stuff there. We do have some predictive market stuff, too, that we wanted to talk to you about. And going to the Masters, and I thought this was fascinating because everyone wants to know. We talk about this every major. We talked about it at the Players, too. Will there be a hole-in-one? And this is one of my favorite markets all the time when this comes around here. They actually have one or more holes in one here at about 55 cents right now. 2 or more or 3 or more, as you can see there, Art. But here's the reality of the situation in this market. I think, at last check, the total amount of hole-in-ones, I believe, in the Masters over the years, I believe there's only been 34 of them since the 30s, no less here. So most of the hole-in-ones come during the practice rounds or the par 3 contests, right? They don't happen in the actual tournament. But I'll tell you and let me get the exact number here, of the 36, and I think that's what it is, 34. 34 total hole-in-ones since 1934. 24 of those have happened only on the 16th hole. That's it. So if it's going to happen, that means you've got one hole, one shot at it actually happening. There were a bunch last year, but I believe they all happened during the par 3 contest. Keegan Bradley, Tom Hogue, Brooks Koepka, all of them made hole-in-ones last year, but during the par 3. So call me crazy, Art, but sitting here at about 40, 45 cents, I think is what we're seeing here. Yeah, no, I don't think there's going to be a hole-in-one. I'm just gonna side here on the fact that I don't think anybody is dropping one in on the 16th hole because that appears to be the only place you can get them. But imagine that from 1934 to only have 34 hole-in-ones in this tournament. And let's face it, they got some, it's not like they got 300-yard par threes on this course.
No.
So, yeah, but having 24 of the 34 only happen on the 16th, interesting to say the least. I think the odds are in our favor.
So we're booking yes, no, will there be a hole-in-one?
Okay.
Yes, minus 150.
Okay, so let's see here right now. Let me see what you got. So you're going to go yes at 150, and that is going to be interesting because we're seeing, let's see, 100 out there would be 176. So yeah, a little bit, close to the same there. But yeah, I still think the no market is much better because a no market at plus 109 I'm getting over here in the predictive markets. So give me the no. And you're shading it towards the yes or towards the no with the 150?
Well, 30-cent line. So the no is plus 120.
120. Okay. So yeah. All right. There you go. I think the no market is absolutely the way to go. Now, the fun part about this, Art, is that if we make it through Thursday with no hole-in-ones,
there you go.
This number goes up. If we make it through Friday without any hole-in-ones, this market rolls up here. So I think that's a fascinating market. And I got news for you. There was another one that I saw regarding Scotty Scheffler and the amount of majors he's going to win this year. There's only 4 majors. Oh,
yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Only 4 of them. So he's got his first opportunity here this week. 2 or more was at a really good price. And the reason I looked at 2 or more, it was so chalky that he was going to win 1 or more, at least 1 or more. But 2 or more, I thought was a really good value because if he were to win the Masters, Art, what is that price going to be now? If we wake up on Monday with Scheffler being the champion. The price for him now winning just 1 more, take it now because it's going to be, I think this is a tournament he's got a really good shot at. Obviously, the tournaments are a little mixed up. The next one would be the PGA next month, and then the U.S. Open, and then the Open Championship. So he's only got 4 shots at it, but what is he right now? What do you guys have him to win the tournament this year at the Masters?
So let me say this, too. We offer to win a major.
Ooh.
So we don't do will they win 2+, but Scheffler for us to win just one of the 4 majors is minus $1.25.
Wow.
So he obviously is the only golfer who is listed at that type of price. Everyone else is plus money. Scheffler right now to win the Masters for us. And this, I think, is high for him because of just the way he's been playing, but he's 6-1. Really? That normally would have been 4-1, 9-2.
Correct.
He would have been in that range to win the Masters. And now, listen, I'm not saying you go out and you bet a guy at 6-1 because that's still tough to do, but this is probably the highest you're going to see Scotty. I mean, like I said, we normally would have him to win probably last year for him to win the Masters. He was probably 4-1 for us.
Yes.
So, him sitting at 6-1. And like I said, minus 125 to win any major this year.
I agree. And let me just and here it is. So this is what I'm talking about. 1 or more is about 54 cents it's trading, which is, minus money. And like you said, right there, right? Just to win 1, whether it be this one or any of the others. But the 2 or more is what I found fascinating because at 23 cents, man, a $100 bet at 23 would bring me back $400. So all I'm saying is if he wins the Masters, that 23, you double your money after 1. You're going to make way more money in this market than you would just betting him to win the Masters here at this point because he'll have 3 other shots. So instead of just going, he wins the Masters, I'm going he wins 2 or more because I got to believe this is going to skyrocket once he wins the Masters if he does.
100%. And, right now we have all the majors up.
Okay.
For outrights. And I'm looking them up as we go here. PGA, he's 4-1.
There you go.
U.S. Open, he's 4-1.
Yep.
Open Championship, a.k.a. the British Open, 5-1.
There you go.
And you mentioned if he were to win this week at the Masters, those all go down clearly.
Yep.
And you're just looking, like you said, you already knocked the first one out there, and you probably, I mean, like you said, you could cash out anyway and just take your winnings. But yeah, I mean, Scotty is clearly the favorite in all these tournaments, but it is funny to see him maybe at like a lower price than you would normally see him to win the Masters, because out of the 4 majors, 6-1 in the Masters is the longest odds for him to win any of these majors.
I agree. And that's why I'm thinking a market, like you can see here, the market right now on this is $100 for the yes to win 2 or more. I mean, that's, you got 435 here is what you're going to win on this one. And if he does win this one, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I mean, he's about 4-1, 5-1 to win this one anyway. So I'm good. I think we can double our money rather quickly on all he's got to do if he wins the Masters. This is the market I'd rather be in than just the straight up winning the Masters. But I also think, Art, we can get him at a better price after the first round, because I'm going to go out on a limb and think the issues he's had with the driver and starting slow, I don't think he's going to flip a switch and that's all of a sudden going to change at the Masters, because I think if he's anywhere, let's say from 10th to 20th by the time we get to Friday, I think the number is going to be better. I really do. I think there's more value in betting him live after Thursday than there might be pre-tournament here, no?
It's an excellent point, Joe, and we talked about that yesterday in the risk room, and it's a perfect example of, like we said, with this first round leader stuff. A guy like Justin Rose, who always leads and then never wins. Scheffler starts slow. If you want to wait on a better price for Scheffler, like you said, wait for the updated odds after round 1. Wait for the in-game options. There's a lot of other ways to attack this. You can even go matchup by matchup with Scheffler. Go to his round 2 matchup, go to his round 3 matchup when he starts to play better. Now, obviously, you're not going to get 6, 7, 8-1 on those type of odds, but maybe you're able to squeeze out, him at, minus $1.50, where maybe he's a little bit lower than normally he would be. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to attack Scheffler. And, it's tough when even though he's sitting there at 6-1, and like I said, he probably should be 4-1. You don't see a lot of action on guys at 6-1.
No,
you just don't. You don't. It's tough. And yeah, hey, we'll be happy if Scotty wins, because like I said, despite the tickets you'll take on him, it's hard to get cracked in a future book at 6-1.
That's correct. And in fact, let me look here. You had mentioned Scheffler, right, to have that first round lead. So he's trading at 7 cents right now. So just to give you an idea of what that would be here and the conversion. So, I mean, that would be at 7 cents. Yes, Scotty Scheffler is your first round leader. 100. So you got about what, 14-1, 15-1, somewhere in that ballpark?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I'm trying to see what his first round leader would be. It's probably in that range. Scheffler, 14-1 to lead after the first round.
There you go. And you mentioned Aberg. Aberg, they're at 4 cents here. We're looking at about 23-1, 24-1, somewhere in that.
Yeah, we got him 20-1.
20-1. All right. So, but again, this is all fun stuff here. And by the way, the other good thing about this market, Art, is that you could buy in, and let's say there all of a sudden he's 3 under after 9, and he's at the tower. He's 4 under. Guess what? You can cash out in the first round.
Get me out
and get out of there. So before anything crazy happens, but. Yeah, I think this is an interesting market, too, just simply from it's usually not the guy that you think of. Although Justin Rose, and I had him last year to win the tournament, the fact that he came out firing on Thursday, he was your first round leader there. It was just that Saturday round that screwed him, and he fought all the way back to get to the playoff last year, but like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, though. He loves this golf course at 3 cents, 3.5 cents. Hell yeah, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose being that first round leader, no?
25-1. I mean, he has proven he can do it. He's done it 5 times. I agree. It's incredible to think he's done that. And I think that's a record. I think that's by far the most in Masters history to lead after the first round. So, like you said, Justin Rose, who is yet to win here, proves that he loves the golf course and he just is yet to break through, but he always plays well. And like you said, the big thing with this predictive market stuff is you're not waiting. It could be a quick burn for you. It could just be, boom, let me take my money and go out. Like we talked about the rookie of the year stuff with baseball. Guy has a hot week, boom, cash your money out and get out. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with this stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad that you said that, because let's look at that market right now. Now that he is up here, let's see, rookie of the year, right? So National League Rookie of the Year, Connor Griffin, now trading at 26 cents from when we discussed. So he's still doubled the money right now, and he's been up less than a week. Nolan McLean, though, is actually the leader right now at 30 cents of the New York Mets. Yeah, see, the pitchers are interesting in this market because, man, does the volatility after a really good outing is like, wow, people are running to the market and betting pitchers like, oh boy, that's what happens if he gets shelled in the next round, right?
Yeah.
Feels like that's too much volatility for me, but I think Connor Griffin and even Sal Stewart at 22, 23 cents may not be a bad look, because that kid is still, and what, Cincinnati's 7-3 to start the year?
Yeah, I mean, we look at, so Griffin is our number one guy. We have Stewart second, and we have Nolan McLean third. And I mean, this Sal Stewart, all he does is hit.
That's it.
I mean, it's unbelievable the way he is. All he does is hit. He's got some wheels. He can steal some bases. Stole the bag yesterday. And like you said, now listen, Rookie of the Year is not how well your team does. You could be on a 65-win team and win Rookie of the Year, but it's probably going to help a little bit if he's in the middle of that lineup and the Reds are contending for a playoff spot. Yeah, I don't see how it hurts. Same thing with Connor Griffin. The Pirates have been good. And you're right with the pitchers. You basically get the guys once a week. So if McLean goes out there, 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, boom. But if he pitches 3 innings and gets shelled, now you got another week. Whereas, like, if Stewart goes 0 for 4 and has 4 strikeouts, the next day he can hit 2 home runs. So it's like
he's right back in there. The everyday
100%.
Player. Totally different market, though, with those Rookie of the Year. So it's worth monitoring. But again, you don't need them to actually win Rookie of the Year. You just need them to have that nice stretch where the market will overreact to the success. And then you can get the hell out before he goes 0 for 14. And next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, I lost half the value that I could have had. So that's the beauty of the predictive markets there. All right, Art, listen, big week, Art. A lot going on here. A lot of Major League Baseball, final week of the NBA and NHL. And what else are you going to have for us this week coming up here? You'll have more Masters for us for sure. Do you guys take any futures on the Derby or anything along those lines as well?
We actually do. I can actually, if you remind me, and I'll maybe do that on Friday, and I'll try to give, we've had our future book, because obviously you've just had the Arkansas Derby and the Santa Anita Derby, and you've had all these derbies. So we've seen a lot of movement. I'll tell you what, the one horse we want to avoid right now in our future book is Renegade.
Of course.
Renegade is the one guy we want to avoid. But listen, as we always say, it's horses. You never know. But on Friday, I'll try to update our future book and kind of give you the horses that have seen the most money and seen the most ticket count outside of Renegade, because there's a couple other that are just slipping my mind. So yes, we do that as well. Obviously, the next couple of days, try to give as much master information as I can. And then, obviously continue with the daily stuff, MLB, NBA, NHL. And then, in a week or so here, we're going to be talking NBA and NHL playoffs, which is going to be really great.
Yes, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun coming up here. So, a lot happening across the board, including Art's Giants losing their nose tackle, but that's a conversation we'll have at a different time. Art the Caesar, brother, always a pleasure, man. We'll see you again tomorrow. Enjoy the games tonight, man. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, Joe.
All right, guys, before we get to our NBA rundown, the Major League Baseball rundown, I'll throw out a couple of best bets that I like on the card here tonight. We'll get to that business, even though the Prez isn't here. We do have a $5 Tuesday situation, Customer Appreciation Day at WagerTalk.com, which means all top plays, $5 here from your favorite handicappers, including yours truly. I've got a game locked in In Major League Baseball for $5, you can head over to my page at wagertalk.com, pick that one up. Prez has got one. Brian Powers got one. We all have one there on Customer Appreciation Day. You can take advantage of that. I'm also going to have another NBA best bet coming your way. As soon as I'm done here, I'll have that up and ready for you guys. One again last night in the NBA on the Portland Trail Blazers, even though they lost in overtime somehow. Also, congrats and thanks to those of you that tailed us there on our 5% UConn bet last night there to get the cover. That they did, and what a season it was, and what a tournament it was in college basketball. So appreciate all of you guys that hung out and partnered up with us there. But take advantage of the $5 Tuesday opportunity right now. Go pick up that Major League Baseball top play that I've got for just $5. All right, let's talk some NBA action here. So we'll run down as many of these games as we can for you, even though some of them are just horrific in nature. But let's start, of course, top with the Bulls and the Wizards. The story of the night here is going to be, we got a total at about 251.5 and continuing to rise. And if we're being honest, there is no way that I would sweat out an under in this game. There's no way I would lay 6 points with the Bulls either, don't get me wrong, on the road against the Wizards here, but maybe a team total for the Bulls would be in play for that one. Timberwolves taking on the Pacers, and, well, the Timberwolves suck lately. Not exactly what Chris Finch wanted, the head coach there. He is screaming and yelling on a 3-game losing streak. They can't figure out what's going on with Anthony Edwards. Is he healthy? Is he not? The Pacers have certainly been a giant pain in people's asses here, even though they haven't won but 18 games. They've given people a run for their money. They're at home here. I think the over might be a decent look there. The Heat and the Raptors, another game I want nothing to do with an under on, although this is a big battle here. Heat going to try and win their way out of the cellar there. There's not a lot separating the Raptors from the Magic, who are currently in the number 9 seed here. So Heat opened up as the favorite. Raptors now the favorite. I still think the over is the way to look there. Both the Nets and the Bucks have been playing much better lately. Don't forget, the Bucks have won 31 games here. The Nets have won 19. The Nets are tanking, make no mistake about it. I like the Bucks here. Celtics don't know what they have to play for, not much. I know what the Hornets are doing. I like the over. I think points are coming in this game here tonight, 220.5 currently. I'll take the over. I'll take the over with Utah and the Pelicans as well. I'm not laying 11.5 with New Orleans. The Warriors are now laying 14.5 with Steph Curry back. Still think the under might be a look there. The Clippers should handle business against the Mavs. The Thunder are laying 100 points against the Lakers. And the Rockets and the Suns, a game in which you guys heard me tell you, I do like the under there tonight. All right, let's talk some Major League Baseball. We'll go over some of these games. Got some early starts here today. Royals, Guardians, Orioles, White Sox, Diamondback, and Mets. Why? Because it's friggin' freezing, and they're anticipating some really cold weather there in Chicago, which is why they moved that game up. So, not going to be cold in Tampa, where the Rays welcome back the Trop with a win yesterday. Assad taking on Rasmussen here, and we're being honest, I kind of like the Rays again in this spot. The Marlins sending Sandy to the mound here to take on Abbott, the lefty. I think the Marlins can bounce back in this one here. I like Alcantara. Velocity is there. He's already 2-0. Yeah, the Marlins, they'll put enough runs on the board to support him in this one here. It's Paul Skeens Day, 6.5 strikeouts. Kind of like the over. Why? Well, because the Padres strike out a ton right now. Nick Pivetta, though, going for the Padres. This feels like the total now at 6, but temperature is going to be in the mid to low 30s at PNC Park here tonight. I wouldn't expect a ton of runs in that game at all. I do like the Nats bats over the Cardinals. The Cardinals can't hit. The Nats can. I'll take them. Even with Crochet on the mound, I do not trust this Red Sox team. If it isn't one thing, it's another. But I do think runs might be coming here tonight. I'd look at the over 7 there. The Dodgers are having their way with the Blue Jays. Shocker. They'll do that again here tonight with Yamamoto taking on Gaussman. The Yankees and Schlittler taking on Savale and the A's. I'm looking for the Yankees to win that game, but no value there. How about Taj Bradley and the Twins taking on Skubal and the Tigers? Yeah, I'll take Skubal and the Tigers on the run line there. Like the Rangers to get it done with Eovaldi on the mound over the Mariners. I think the Phillies can get it done over the Giants. Astros team total over, as well as the Angels at plus money to do it again tonight against the Braves. So, a couple of best bets here as we move forward here today, guys. One of my favorite plays here today was going to be, listen, I had Atlanta last night on the run line, was not great because I didn't see Chris Sale giving up 3 runs in an inning without 1 ball making it to the outfield. But when you walk 2 guys and you hit 2 guys and then, you got a bunch of guys kicking the ball around in the infield, that seems to happen here. But one of my favorite plays is absolutely going to be the over in the Red Sox and Brewers game. I know temp are going to be a little bit chilly here, but that bullpen of Boston, not good right now. And listen, Miz has been really good, but Miz also walks 4 to 5 guys a game. I think you got a very angry and hungry Red Sox team here. I think we can get some runs on the board, not to mention that Crochet, we've seen a little tick down in velocity once the weather gets really cold with him. I think we can see that again in this game, and the Brewers are absolutely smashing the ball. So I do like an over. I think 7 is a little light in that spot. And in the NBA, I'm going to hate myself for doing it, but I'm just telling you, I like the Miami Heat tonight on the road against Toronto. I do not trust this Toronto team. I think they are absolutely Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde here. I think Miami, though, dropping 152 or 3 points on Washington. I think they have righted the ship. I believe Norm Powell is over the illness, so I think he'll be available for them tonight. I just think it's too much firepower here for the Miami Heat, who are looking with Spoelstra to get it going in the right direction as they head into the play-in tournament. I think they can do that. Don't forget, it's the first of a back-to-back in Toronto against the Raptors. I think Miami strikes blood there first. And there you got it here, guys. All right, across the board, we appreciate you stopping by. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We certainly appreciate you hanging with us here. Art DeCesar back again tomorrow here with more of the sharp bets as well as predictive markets parlay of the day. We'll see how the books do tomorrow on the games tonight. Don't forget, $5 Tuesday. Head over to WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of the deal, guys, and come back and join us again tomorrow for another edition of the best betting show ever.